Steve Brine.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rosendale, and nice to see you in the chair. Thank you to my honourable friend from Caithness, Sutherland and Easter Ross for opening the debate today. I obviously co-sponsored the debate along with my friend from Cardiff West, who I serve on the Select Committee with. For my part this morning, Mr. Rosendale, I just want to focus again on the festival industry. And I say again because I spoke about this in the DCMS Estimates Day debate a couple of weeks ago. Now, the risks to events taking place this year revolve around three things. There's uncertainty, even with the roadmap, a lack of working capital for our festivals, and the ongoing absence of this insurance solution. There are, believe it or not, around 975 festivals in the UK every year. It's an incredible number. We reckon it generates around 1.75, 1.8 billion pounds for the UK economy every year. We reckon it supports around 85,000 jobs. And according to the excellent UK Music, over 5 million people attended a festival in 2019, including me. It was Boomtown Fair in my own Winchester constituency, and for the record, Pattershall, small community music festival in Northamptonshire. And that really shows the difference for a very, very big event. Tens of thousands of people to a very small village affair. So I would attest that a government-backed insurance scheme is essential to the festival industry, Mr. Rosendale. I appreciate, and I am not saying that insurance alone is the sole barrier to kick-starting festivals. And it is a leap of faith in some respects with taxpayers' money. But organisers cannot enter into the usual planning for 2021 without an insurance solution in place. It is simply the key that unlocks the process. As my honourable friend said, it is unfortunate we haven't yet managed to persuade the government of the case. I have to say it is almost too late for 2021, but we must try, and we will, and that's the purpose of today. The sector, it has to be said, is not churlish here. The sector very much welcomes the Prime Minister's roadmap out of lockdown, that it has the no earlier than dates, and the news that many festivals may be able to go ahead in some capacity later on this year. But I think we have to understand that this is surrounded by caveats, and the problem is planning cycle. There'll be not more than a week's notice of Step 4 being brought in. So if all factors line up and June the 21st is possible, they may not get the go-ahead until the 14th of June. So the government's event research programme, which I welcome very much, including the pilots, will need to be successfully completed by the 21st of June to enable Step 4. And this doesn't start until the 12th of April. Now, clearly, this has a significant impact on some festivals being able to proceed with planning for July, August this year, given the timeline without an insurance solution and the average go, no-go cut-off point being the end of this month, which is why I say it's almost too late. The insurance we're talking about here doesn't exist in the commercial market, and it's unlikely to mobilise this until at least 2022. So it is a market failure or a market gap. I would say that even if festivals sell out well ahead of time, many organisers can't draw down the revenue from the ticketing companies as it remains ring-fenced to be paid out rightly post-event or refunded to customers if necessary. So it remains an enormous risk for any independent festival to proceed with costs up to June the 14th without insurance, and many just won't take it. Major festivals such as Reading and Leeds have said that they will go ahead this year. Glastonbury, of course, has not. But I think it's important to say that they're not the barometer for the entire festival industry. Now, members of the DCMS Select Committee, which I serve, and others, wrote to Treasury on the 6th of January. We reminded the government that it has backed insurance for the film and television industry to the tune of some £500 million. It's now time to do this for other creative industries. There are a number of forms this could take. One of these requires no upfront contribution from the government and utilises the existing Pool Re structure developed in response to unpredictable and devastating acts of terrorism, actually. This would leave the Treasury with a maximum liability, we think, of £1.5 billion and could be adapted to cover a range of sectors, including hospitality, sports and leisure, as well as festivals and live performances and events. But the point is, Mr. Rosendale, that none of this need ever be needed. As the gentleman said opening the debate, all the government need to do is back its own roadmap. Now, in their reply on the 8th of February, the Treasury Minister, the member for Salisbury, said, and I quote, "My officials are working with DCMS officials to understand what a viable roadmap would be for the reopening of the events sector, and therefore the right point to consider potential support options which could unlock a reopening of the sector, including insurance-based solutions." That sounded positive. That was obviously over a month ago. So can we get an update today on that from the Minister, please? I think the key question, Mr Rosendale, put by UK Music ahead of today's debate is this. Does the government believe that festivals should start planning for post-21st of June without insurance in place? Now, they've made government-backed insurance a key plank of their excellent Save Our Summer 2021 report, which is very clear that it is welcome that the government delivered on so many points in the report, an indicative date, for instance, extending financial support to name but two. But without insurance, they feel, and we agree, that the benefits to the sector are restricted. So the live sector desperately needs to return to work, and I know the Minister is a great champion of that sector. She knows this. The government has stated that it will do whatever it takes, quote unquote, to support the economy and jobs, and boy have we done that. 70% of musicians have seen their work fall by at least 75%. Grassroots music venues, I have the Railway Inn in my constituency, have lost an average 75%, that's 2/3 of their income. Arenas the same, technical companies have lost on average 95% of their income. This is devastation across the sector. The longer the live music sector is shut, the more damage is done and the more difficult recovery will be. Therefore, quickly clearing this insurance barrier is key to guaranteeing the recovery. It's been calculated by UK Music that a £680 million government-backed insurance scheme for music could underwrite £2 billion in activity. Now, the government has stated it's not intervening because insurance is not, quote, the only barrier to events taking place, and has pointed to other interventions it has made, so the Job Retention Scheme, the Self-Employed Scheme, and the Cultural Recovery Fund. All excellent schemes. The music sector is very grateful for these and other interventions, but they don't negate the need for insurance, and their utility in supporting reopening is less than it would be without an insurance solution. Now, it's unclear what the government means by the only barrier. If reopening goes ahead on the 21st of June, the only reason for live music events not to go ahead would be this inability to get the insurance. It's what we keep coming back to. If the public health intervention of delaying reopening is the other barrier being referred to, then the industry is, let's face it, in a catch-22, because it is the possibility of that intervention that is distorting the commercial music market and raising the need for a government insurance intervention in the first place. So in conclusion, Mr Rosendale, this matters for all the reasons that I have touched on this morning, but it matters right now when events short of insurance, short of certainty and short of cash flow are selling tickets to young people desperate for something to look forward to. We cannot have events, sometimes without a licence in place, or I found one the other day, not having even contacted the safety advisory group of the respective local authority, selling tickets often at £100 plus a go on the promise of hope alone. This will do the vast majority of this well-run professional industry no favours whatsoever. But in many ways, I think it's a symptom of the situation that we're in. I appreciate the insurance situation is difficult. It is not the only issue in play here, and we don't pretend that it is. But it is the key that can unlock the door. Thank you very much.